Okay, family, and we're back again. So Ia has changed positions. I think she even went outside because we think it has something to do with the way. I don't know if this ever happened to you all. I went live somewhere, and when I was in a certain room in the house, it would just give me all kind of crappy service. And then when I stepped outside, then the signal got better. So she's going to step outside, and let's see if this really helps us get her back in. And thank God that our other dear sister's there with her, so we can get this going again. This has so much information. All right, Ia, how you feeling?
Okay, I'm back. I'm
Okay.
back. I'm outside, which I have. Um, so hopefully this will do it.
You
Swipe.
frozen.
Hmm.
Are you there,
Oh,
Ia?
I'm so I'm so
Okay,
sorry, folks. What can I
that's
tell
okay.
you?
Okay, that's all. Everything happens like it's supposed to, but you seem very
Yeah,
clear right now.
good, good,
You
good.
working?
Yeah. Um, okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
let me just do a
Now,
quick
all
update,
right.
real quick. So those of you who are joining us, we're talking to Iyalode IyaLe Olamide. This is our Queen Mother, and she's talking to us about the Ori and ancestors. And the question someone asked was, how do we, basically, the question from Asatu says, how do we keep our Ori balanced, Iya, with all the mess coming at us? How do we stay cool in the world that is attacking us?
Um, Great question, and something that I wrestle with on a daily basis. First and foremost, we need to do exactly what we did at the beginning of this video. We need to pour libation and give praise and honor to our ancestors and the Orisha and the God of our understanding. That is something that we need to do on a daily basis. And I always share with people that when you rise in the morning, feet upon the floor, you swing out of your bed, take a minute, a second, or whatever it is, to just place your hand on your head. Because, as I said, our heads are so very important. Just place your hand on the crown of your head and give praise and honor and thanksgiving to your head, your Ori, your consciousness. Um, and then go about your day um, with clarity and being cool and calm. You can always take a calming spiritual bath. That's another way to face what we have to face on a daily basis. But if you shower in the morning, it's intention. It's intention. Everything starts with intention, with thought. Uh, you must think positively to keep that balance with your Ori. And of course, there are different ceremonies and things that you can do for your Ori, different herbs that you can use. But that's probably for another discussion. Um, so um, just start your day with grace and ease, with love for yourself, for your family, for your community, and during these times for our people, for us as a nation. We are a nation. We're broken up and in different countries, but we're all across this globe, all across this planet, and we are a nation. Uh, we just have to know it and feel it and be about it, because we create our own reality. We've been so downtrodden and beaten and brainwashed into thinking negative things about ourselves. Now it's time to reverse all of that and be brainwashed into thinking and knowing the greatness of yourself and your people. I think that would be my first thought and my answer to that question. Of course, there's loads of things you can do, but you have to be aware. Just knowing who you are and who your ancestors are and where you come from, just knowing that and walking in that power, in that space, will help you to balance yourself out and face the daily fight that we have to fight. But remember, we chose to come here at this time and be part of the fight. So our ancestors and the Creator will give us all that we need to get through it. It's not easy.
Right on.
But it's what we have chosen, and we're waking up. We're waking up, and once you woke, then you got a responsibility.
Right on. A question in the room asks, "What is a good spiritual bath?" And then another, Vaughn said, "Herbs." So, what is a good spiritual bath? When you say wake up in the morning, and maybe that's how you start your day off.
Right. Well, let's see. There are many different baths. The first thing that I would think of is you want to clear away negative energy. And then you want to bring in the good energy, the sweetness. Sea salt. First of all, you need to clean your tub out, and I don't mean just with Comet or that stuff. Cleanliness is next to godliness, so we are going to assume the tub is fairly clean to begin with. But you want to clean it energetically, so you want to use baking soda. What is that stuff called? Baking soda, sea salt, and vinegar. So you just sprinkle a little baking soda in the tub and then sprinkle a little vinegar and you'll see it foams up. And then sprinkle some sea salt and just give that a little swoosh around and let it go out. And then you start your spiritual bath. So you want to have, to clear the negative energy. Salt is always helpful in clearing negative energy away. I'm so used to taking sweet baths. Then you also want to put in you can use brown sugar, you can use cinnamon, you can use, what else? I'm thinking of walking into my kitchen and get holy basil, if you want an herb, rosemary, mint, and I'm kind of mixing sweet and sour or negative together here. But those are a few things that you can use. If I think of something else as we're speaking, I'll put it out there.
Right on. So, what are ancestors? What are ancestors?
All right. The word for ancestors is Egun. Okay, Egun. Egun. Egun are our ancestors of our bloodline. So that would be your mother or father if they have transitioned, your grandparents, great grandparents, aunts, uncles, so forth. And then you have the Egungun, and the Egungun are all of the ancestors. So that would be Dessalines and Malcolm X and others of Francis Cress Welsing and others who have transitioned. They're the ancestors of us all. So there is a difference in your blood relatives, and others. However, if you go back far enough, we're all connected because we all come from one source.
Right on.
Yeah. So we're all cousins. We kissing cousins.
So what is the role of the ancestors, of the Egungun, of the Egun? What is their role? Where do they live?
I'm sorry, say that
I
again.
said, what is their role, the Egun, the ancestors, Egungun? What is their role? Where do they live?
Ah, they live there. That the Egun and Egungun are spirit, so they live. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're always with us, and they live within us. Um, Last night, as I said earlier, last night you spoke with such passion about the ancestors. They live within us. Uh, we, um, we, we are the ancestors returned, you know. But they're everywhere, just like spirit is everywhere. Energy is everywhere. We just must call on it, call on them to guide us and to protect us and to assist us as we take this journey. Because as we elevate, and that's what it's all about, elevating from where we are, getting higher and higher, wider and wider, and more in tune with our creative source. As we do that, um, we connect with the ancestors. So they're everywhere. It's not like in the Christian way of thinking that we're all going up in the sky to some heaven and the people are playing the harp and the violin and we're walking around. That was a way of that's like an allegory, or a way of telling a story. Um, that we'll all get to heaven, well, how's the song go? Kick off our shoes or whatever. We'll be walking around. It'll be golden roads and all. That's fantasy. And it's a way of us being able better, get a picture. But energy and the ancestors are energy, and so are we. It's not created nor destroyed. It just simply transforms. So it's everywhere. Our ancestors are everywhere, but especially they live within us.
I know. So with that being said, how do we communicate with our ancestors?
There are many ways of communicating with the ancestors, but for this conversation, we talk to them just like we're talking here to each other. We talk to them, and there are things that you can do to communicate with them. First of all, you got to call on them. You have to acknowledge them. You have to believe and know that they are there for you. And you have to know that you are connected to them. And it's in the intention. I'm sure I said that earlier, because everything is in the intention. What do you intend? Do you want to call on your ancestors? Do you know that they are there for you? And if that is the case, just call them. Mama, 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 help me. When trouble comes, the first thing you say, I want my mama. Mama, help me. Mama, please. Mama, come here. Mama, see me through this misery. Whatever. We always call on our mamas. We call on our daddies, our papas too. But I know for me, the first thing out of my mouth is mama.
Me too.
So just call on them. They're there for you.
That's true.
The same blood that runs through your veins comes from them. You think that you're going to let your blood perish? No. Your blood calls on you, you're going to be there for them, you know? So just call on them, and acknowledge them, and be patient. We call, and this is part of the way we're socialized. We think everything should be,
Yes.
um, right away. We want it
Mhm.
now. You got to be patient sometimes, and listen for them. We don't listen for our ancestors. They speak to us all the time,
Mhm.
um, but we don't listen for them because we're not, um,
In tune.
vigilant. We're not looking to hear what it is, looking. We're not seeing them and hearing them, seeing with our spiritual eyes and hearing with our spiritual ears and speaking with our spiritual mouth and smelling with our spiritual noses, because sometimes you can smell them. There's a smell that your mother had, a perfume she used, or just her cooking. And sometimes you can smell it, and it makes you, uh, remember or think of your mama, and she's there,
Mm.
or your father, or your brothers, your sisters, your brothers, whatever. It's a smell sometimes. And sometimes we see them,
Mm.
you know. Some people have that gift. Um, you see that little thing that moves, the side of your eye, and you look, and you think it's nothing there, but that sometimes they brush up against you,
Mm.
you know, and we just brush it off and say, oh, I don't know what that was. Be aware, listen, and see, go deeper into yourself, because they are there for you.
So, Ia, how do you communicate with ancestors? Before they came ancestors, they had a lot of turmoil because we had a period in our immediate past where we had like people who were on drugs and who maybe weren't their real self. How do we communicate with those people who, when they lived, or maybe they checked out on something horrific or traumatic? How do we connect with those ancestors in a good, safe way?
Okay, great question. Um, and the reason why I'm hesitating is because there, I must say that there are spirits that sometimes don't have our best interest at heart. So be aware of that. Okay, that's number one. Be aware that there are. But if you're speaking of family members, um, or even folks that weren't your family members, forgiveness. Forgiveness is a big thing.
Yes.
And many times when you cross over, into spirit, into the spirit realm, you seek that forgiveness. And we on this side of the veil, uh, if if we have come to that space in our heart, we can give that forgiveness of whoever the person was that harmed us or hurt us in some way. If you know that as we come to this realm, we have contracted with the people or the spirits that are in our lives. And when I say spirits, I mean all of us, because we're all spirit first, having a human experience.
Right on.
Um, we have contracted with each other that we're going to have whatever the experience may be. It may be, one of the ones that come up all the time is, rape and molestation.
Mm.
Um, you know, how in the world do you ever forgive your rapist? You
Mm.
know, that I mean, come on. And the other piece is, how do you, uh, grab a hold of that concept that you made that contract with that other being, to to violate you in that way. Um, if you can get to that place, and if you can't, that's okay, because everybody has to do. We're all on this journey, and we're not all in the same place. So everybody has to do what rings true with their spirit and in their spirit. But if you can bring yourself to look at it, you and that person had the contract for you to for both of you to have that experience, because all contact and relationships are symbiotic. If you can get to that space, then you know there's something for you to learn from that experience, and there's something for the other person to learn from that experience. Now, when somebody has died they've had a traumatic death, let's say a car accident, or uh, a gun being gunned down, like this young guy that has been gunned down. I think it's 17 times in the back. That's horrific. Um, and then you look at the people who shot him and say, I never made a contract with these people to kill me in this way. But when you, for that person or that spirit that was gunned down in that way, sometimes they have a really hard time crossing over, crossing over into their spirit realm. And sometimes we have to help them with that. And there are different ceremonies and rituals that are done that will help them to cross over comfortably, and to let go of that tether that is holding them in this third dimension that we live in. I think that's pretty much my answer to that. Each situation is different, and a blanket answer may not work in your case. You may have to contact someone to break the cord, the energetic cord between you and that person who is having a hard time transitioning, or you're having a hard time forgiving them. So you may need help with that. None of this is cookie cutter.
Right.
That's the difference with this. That's one of the big differences with our African traditional spirituality and Christianity. See, they only got not even half, they only got a tenth of the story. The bulk of the story, they never got. There are no cookie cutter ways of doing these things. Each situation is a bit different. And sometimes you might have to go and have some work done, or speak with someone who knows, who knows what they're doing.
So,
and if the first person you speak with can't help you, speak with someone else. They should be, if they're reputable, a reputable priest or priestess, they will bring somebody else in who they feel may be more helpful, someone who's had more experience. And sometimes it's not even experience. A child sometimes is very powerful, because they're very close to spirit. They just got here.
So, with that being said, I'm going to try to get these questions in. Someone asked about how do you, hold on, let me just get this right. The person's question is, how do you build, what's your advice you give to someone for a beginner? What advice can you give to a beginner around with an ancestral altar? So someone just started their ancestral altar. What advice could you give to them with the ancestral altar? That's one question, Iya. And the other one is, a sister said that her son was murdered, and she worries about that very thing. My screen is jumping, because the comments are coming in. But basically, she said, I worry. This one mother says, I worry so much. Don't know if my son crossed over. how do you know if they did or not? So those are two questions. I want to try to get those in there.
Okay, uh, I'm going to start with the second one.
Okay.
My suggestion for that mother, and I offer you my feelings as a mother. To lose your son is horrific. Um, what I would suggest is that she seeks out a reputable um, priest or priestess to help her with that. And again, I'll go back to intent. It's her intention. If she wants to explore this and to find out if her son is at peace and at rest, then all she has to do is ask, and ask out loud in the middle of the night to that mother. And I don't have her name, but my dear sister, in the middle of the night or the middle of the day, whenever, speak your son's name and ask him, is he okay? Ask him, has he found peace and rest and joy? And then listen. And sometimes the answer comes when you see somebody walking down the street and they're smiling and they're happy and it looks like your son. And sometimes it comes in a magazine, or it'll come in a song that you hear that you know he loved. So that's the first thing. Ask, and ask out loud. Call your son's name. Call his name and let him know of the love that is in your heart for him. And then also seek out the assistance of a reputable priest or priestess to help you with that, where in your city, wherever you are residing. And they will divine for you, and they should be able, or if the spirits and the powers that be want you to know at this time, and I'm sure your son does want you to know if he's at peace, they'll be able to divine that. They'll go into that spirit realm and they'll be able to get that information for you. But it's all in your intent, mother. It's all in your intent. You love your son and you're devastated by what happened. Speak his name, call out to him, and let him know that this is on your heart, and you need to know that he's okay. The one thing about ancestors and spirits, they'll let you know one way or another. Sometimes, I know for me, sometimes I'll be walking and I'll trip up on something and I look down, there ain't nothing there. And that's them trying to either answer a question that I put out or let me know, something's going on. So they'll answer you.
So ancestral altar. What advice would you give
Oh,
to
the first
someone
question.
starting the
Yeah,
ancestral altar?
I got wrapped up in.
That's
You have my condolences, mother. I'm with you there. An ancestral altar. A lot of us already have them in our homes, or we remember them from our grandmothers when they had on the mantle.
mm-hmm.
They had pictures of those who are no longer with us. That was somewhat of an ancestral altar. But to establish or to put together an ancestral altar, first of all, you want to get a space in your home that will be respected and undisturbed. You don't want a place where the children are going to be running and knock things over. You want to clean that space, the walls, the floor, the corners, clean that space. You can have a table, get a white cloth and put that on the table. If you put the white cloth on there and it keeps blowing off, your ancestors are probably trying to tell you they want a different kind of cloth. They might want a blue cloth. They might want, a different color cloth, but start with a white cloth because that's always, usually, I won't say always, it's usually acceptable. You want to have water. You need the elements on your ancestral altar. So you want to have a nice goblet or a glass of cool, fresh water. You want the glass to be clean because you want clear water. You can have one glass, you can have 5 glasses, you can have 9 glasses. Usually it is an odd number of glasses, okay, of water. You want to have fire, so you want to have a white candle. They, if your ancestors, or let's say your mama, she loved blue and she wants a blue candle, you'll know because the white candle will keep going out, and try more than one white candle because they manufacture these things and only they used to have 7-day candles. You buy a 7-day candle now, if it lasts for 5 days, you're doing good. So yeah, a white candle, your water, fruit, have a nice little basket of fruit. You can have 2 pieces or 10 pieces, whatever they like. A lot of us like bananas and apples and pears and plums and peaches and just oranges. Oranges are sacred to Oshun, and Shango loves the bananas. And, I usually have 6 apples for Shango. And so fruit. But I shouldn't mix the two. So let me be very clear here. An ancestral altar and an Orisha altar are 2 separate things. Do not combine them and do not mix them up. I'm just referring to these fruits just as a reference that Oshun likes oranges, but that's not why you're putting it on your ancestral altar. Let me see. Okay, so you have your water, your candle, your fire, incense, air. You can have a little incense, burn some incense for them. Frankincense and myrrh is always appropriate because it gets rid of any negative energies that might be lurking around. I'm thinking of my own altar now and seeing if I've forgotten anything. Oh, pictures. You want pictures of your loved ones, and caution, never put a picture of a live altar.
A live
That's
person.
a no-no.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't do that. Do not. So if you have a picture of you and your
Hold it, y'all. She'll come back on. She's saying if you have a picture of you and your mom, you
okay,
should be on the altar. And you back on. So you were saying if you have a picture of you and the person that's deceased, don't put that on the altar. Just a picture of just the person who are deceased.
yes, just this is an ancestral altar. So in order to be an ancestor, you have to have transitioned into.
All right, y'all. Iya is we did pretty good for a while. We got a good 30 minutes in here. So I'm gonna be very grateful for that 30 minutes. What I am gonna do with Iya, I'm gonna talk back with her because I don't know if she can get back in here or not to do a wrap up. But we're gonna figure a different way of getting an interview with her because this elder, as all of this, all the queen mothers that I've interviewed, has so much information that we need because this is how you keep your spiritual world in order. It's how you keep your ori clear and cool and calm. So I'm gonna sign into y'all later on because I see now the thing is acting crazy. Take care of peace.